Sega, Nintendo, PlayStation, Atari. Long ago, the four console nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when Sony attacked. Only Xbox, master of online gaming, could stop them. But when the world needed them the most, they gave Halo to PlayStation. The console war is over, and somehow the gamers lost. After decades of fighting, competition, upgrades, updates, warring, each and every console tried to one up the other one and fight to keep their whole identity and land to each and their own and try to get their ultimate version of themselves, from Xbox 360 to Xbox One to Xbox Series X to PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and Nintendo sitting at the corner watch, being the neutral country that it is. The console war has finally reached its gruesome end, with Xbox losing its land, losing the war. Finally, PlayStation takes the throne and win. Xbox reluctantly conceding their flagship game Halo to PlayStation. PlayStation rules the console lands. But at what cost? PlayStation is standing on an empire of rubble. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Holy shit, I have never in my entire life thought this day would come where consoles are literally the worst thing you might buy, worst thing you might get in today's age. Hell, even if you pay $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for a PC, you're better off than paying PlayStation because you no longer own your own goddamn console. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I mean, you can buy the console, you can purchase the box, but literally anything and everything inside it is either owned by Microsoft or PlayStation, Sony. And they have full control on your software updates and everything. And this is what this video is about. You know, if you haven't been living under a box, recent news that PlayStation will stop producing CDs after February 2028, leaving PlayStation to be a digital store solely. PlayStation fans are not happy about it. Well, they're kind of right to not be happy about it. The reason is that you're removing basically any sort of agency they have over their own box, and now the only way for them to buy a game is from the PlayStation Store, which basically just remove any other options for maybe discounted price, reselling your old stock and try to get some money or revenue out of old products that you bought, or maybe even share your disc with your friends so they can play the game if you are already done with it. You know, just removing that whole gamer community kind of vibe to it. But that's just one of the reasons. The other reason being is that now you're being sold a license of the game, just like we have on PC, and the PlayStation players are no longer owning their own game, which by default you're not even owning your own PlayStation at this point. And there's a lot of other news that came around, like PlayStation, after 3-6 months of you having your account for PlayStation account, if you haven't played your PlayStation in 36 months, you will lose that account, which basically you're losing all your games. That other one, this really got to me, by the way. If Steam had ever had that option, I would have blown my mind. And this is where I, as a sole PC gamer, and I've always preferred PC over consoles, this is where I actually feel for the console players out there, because now it's not something as simple as, hey, let me just plug this console and play. Now you have to be aware of a lot of other situations that might happen. Back in the day, when the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 era, we used to have our console just sit there for many months, even years sometimes, without even playing this CD or playing this game, because you know it's I have it right there and only open it on some occasions, maybe when I'm going out with my friends to have like a LAN party or anything of that sort. And what's happening right now with Sony and PlayStation is that you're removing this community that was built around this kind of console, and it is very disheartening. I mean, as a PC gamer, I'm already accustomed to not owning games because it's I buy most of my products from Steam, and Steam as a platform, you basically buy the license. But we still have other options. We still have other platforms. We even have pirating. There's so many other ways to circumvent the whole licensing thing on PC, but on console, it's just not possible. And this is where it's hitting very, very hard for the console players. You're not owning anything anymore. It's all digital, it's all licensing, and it's just not fair for anyone that wants to be a gamer. And not only just that, you can't go to any other console anymore. What do you have that is available now? Xbox is even worse than PlayStation, in my opinion. Just my opinion, by the way. And if you're playing on Xbox, why don't you just buy a PC at this point? Because it's more versatile than Xbox. And with the way Microsoft is dealing with the studios for Xbox, it's not going in the way you would prefer. Also, it hasn't been one of the best consoles from I don't know, 2020, since Series X. This is just my opinion, by the way. The games that have been releasing there are not really that exclusive, and they're not really that polished either. It's not like way before when you had Halo, Gears of Wars, and these were like the flagship games of Xbox, and you had an Xbox just to play these. Just not worth it anymore. And then you have Nintendo, which is also not that good, because Nintendo games, you can't basically mod your Nintendo any way, shape, and form, and all their games cost $60-$70 at that point, even if the game is like 20-30 years old. What other choices do you have as a console player than just fork up $2,000, maybe even $3,000, and buy a PC? And the way these companies are going right now, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, it's just they're following any other AAA gaming company's greed. And unfortunately, I have to say this, since console players don't know better, they follow them without even considering the consequences. For example, GTA 6 got announced, the pre-orders were listed, everyone bought them without any CDs. And when Sony saw that a lot of people pre-ordered that shit, they were like, yeah, the numbers are high. The consumer base reacted positively to the no disc thing, and now we're just gonna cement that idea for our next year, which is 2028, the year after. At this point, I think the lack of versatility for console players is what leading to these kind of consequences. And if you guys don't think of a way to fight back, you will be stuck here. I mean, Nintendo has its own fans, PlayStation has its own fans. Xbox never really had that much of a fan base like these other do, in my opinion. I don't see it that much often, because a lot of people would prefer to just buy a PC instead of being stuck with Xbox subscriptions. And speaking of which, subscriptions. The subscription thing for PlayStation and Xbox, it absolutely boggles the mind, and I've never understood the appeal for it. Sure, you will get a catalog of games, but to be constricted to that sort of thing, like not play any other games whatsoever because you already have a subscription and you don't want to waste it and buy something, out of your price range. And from my understanding, PlayStation and Xbox don't give that much discount, not as much as Steam, in my opinion. Nintendo doesn't allow you to do anything. It's a total dictatorship over there. So it is a bleak future for consoles, and I hope you guys get a better deal out of this. But if you don't start fighting back, if we don't start to call out the faults that these companies have, especially like Sony, if you stop coddling that company, you will lose. And you're already losing, by the way, in my opinion. And I say this with all my love for the console players, even though you guys are batshit crazy. I've talked about Sony before. In the comments, you guys are just always defending them with a bat. I don't know why. I don't know where this loyalty is coming from, but you guys are getting the short end of the stick, and I hope you guys get get through this in one piece. Right, that's all I have for this video this time, guys. It's a short one, not that deep. I just want to talk about the future of console for just a little bit. I don't know, what do you guys think? Does console still have a future, or is it as grim as we're seeing right now? Ciao for now, bye bye.